An international lawyer will work with natural persons and legal entities, right? So here in Brazil, I provide legal service and juridical advice since natural persons that are immigrants, right? They came to Brazil to work in a company, in a relation employer-employee, or they came to Brazil to study, or they came to Brazil to work in a company, but in a relation of agent of this company, an administrator, right? So it's a corporate relation, not a labor relation, strict sense. Of course, we also work with business, foreign business that came here in Brazil looking for the Brazilian market. So a foreign company can acquire a company, existing company here in Brazil in a acquisition process that will demand a due diligence process, agreements to close the deal, valuation, close, and so on. All the steps of a normal M&A process. Or the foreign company can setting up a new structure, business structure here in Brazil, a new Brazilian company with foreign partners, and they will demand of the lawyer corporate service to draft the bylaws, the articles of association, agreements among shareholders, quota holders. We will be need taxation service because the Brazilian tax system is very difficult and it's very important advisement on overseas transactions concerning the double tax treats, right? If we can find benefits on taxation. And of course, commercial agreements of all kinds. The company will rent a real estate for their headquarters, for example, or a commercial agreement of agents and distribution, right? Power of attorney. Well, all kinds of legal and juridical services are demanded by foreign investors and holding companies that want to operate here in Brazil. And as an international lawyer, it's very important start advising the client about the facts, the reality of the market, not only concerning the juridical perspective, but talk frankly, face to face about global economy. So, when we think about China, for example, we have a population of more than 1 billion of persons and a GDP, a gross domestic product, of $14 trillion. And when USA with a population of 300 persons, millions of persons, and a GDP of $21 trillion. So Brazil will exchange business with companies of these countries, for example. Brazil with a market very strong, 200 millions of persons and a GDP of 1.82 trillion dollars. It's one of the first economies. And okay, so it's important check what it's the relation of these countries with Brazil The foreign trade is the first step, always, right, of international business. So the foreign investor came to Brazil, understand the market, start some agreements with Brazilian agents that will distribute, for example, the foreign product, right? And the second step is the foreign foreign direct investment, right? Foreign direct investment. So they came to Brazil and put money here to buy companies and setting up new companies, new business vehicles in all the sectors that is possible. We have strong relations with USA, of course, China, of course, and a lot of countries of European Union, right? Netherlands, it's a good example, as well as Belgium, of stronger foreigner direct investors here in Brazil. So, all kinds of legal and juridical service with economical perspective. It's not easy to do business in Brazil, but it's a huge market. Came to Brazil.